What is going on, Steeler Nation? What is up? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Steelers Almighty, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Whoo! Still a lot going on in camp. We had I guess, a little bit of a lighter day yesterday, as much as you can. I mean, the pads weren't on Saturday at training camp. Still had practice, but they got a lot of stuff done. The Steelers were still able to get stuff accomplished. We're going to go through that and talk about a couple of other things besides camp. Uh, we're going to get into camp. Don't get me wrong, but we're going to talk to you about a couple other things that are really just kind of grinding my gears and grinding yours too, because you guys have asked me about it and think we need to talk about it. So we're going to get into a little bit of that today. Again, as always, man, remember to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Steelers Almighty is the fastest growing just channel on YouTube, period, man. We are growing. It is all thanks to you guys. We appreciate that. Let's kind of get into the show. Let's get into this a little bit. We'll take care of that other stuff here in a little bit. First things first, man, let's talk about Beanie Bishop. There was a lot of talk early in camp, in off season, just in off season in general, about who was going to be the starting slot corner. Was there talk about were we going to bring somebody in? Were we going to make a trade for somebody? Well, Beanie Bishop has basically taken the reins. Now, here's the thing. It was pointed out to me yesterday by somebody in the chat that said, hey, what are you talking about? All Beanie Bishop has done is they're giving him reps like they gave Kendrick Green. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I mean, I get that people can be miserable sometimes and they just get on lives and that's all they do is want to come in and complain. I understand that. But you're trying to tell me you're comparing what Beanie Bishop is doing in training camp to Kendrick Green? What? I I don't know, man. I don't know. I get it. People can be upset and people are mad and they just want to lash out. I understand that part, and they don't have to agree. Y'all don't have to agree with what I do or say. Y'all know that. I love it when you disagree. Now, I won't stand for disrespect. I'm not going to stand for that. But let's disagree. That makes it more fun when we disagree. Having said all of that, come on, man. Beanie Bishop has taken this starting job and run with it. Look, it was Cam Sutton's, and I think everybody knew that. We also knew that Cam Sutton was going to get suspended, and the job was up for grabs. Hey, man, we got 8 games. We got to fill somebody in here. What's going on? Beanie Bishop has come in and has done his thing, man. He has done his thing. Did you all see him yesterday? Did you see him yesterday? He was covering people. He was out there like a fly on you-know-what, covering people, being in people's hip pocket, made an incredible interception on a screenplay. Read Justin Fields' eyes, jumped up, got a pick 6. He's saying, hey, guys, you all didn't draft me. Nobody drafted me, but I'm a football player. I understand my size is the reason I didn't get drafted, but I'm a football player. I want this job. I think all of that is good for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I think all of that is good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's my whole point is I think him getting the job and doing as well as what he is doing right now, all of that is good for the simple fact that when Cam Sutton actually does get back with the Steelers, if he's in decent playing shape and he's ready to go, then that means as long as Beanie Bishop continues to play well. Now, let's not kid ourselves. If he doesn't play well, once the games start, that's a different conversation. But if he plays well and he's taking the job, the Steelers' secondary can be even better than what we thought it was going to be. We thought slot corner was going to be an issue. Maybe we've solved that problem. Now, again, I don't want to get into it's early. At some point, it can't just be early. You know what I'm saying? We can't continue to just say, it's early. We got to hold off. Oh, it's early. When is it? Hey, maybe this guy's okay. When do we turn that corner? You know what I'm saying? Versus, hey, you know what? He strung together 5 or 6 really good practices in a row. And I know what some people are going to say, oh, well, 5 practices don't mean anything. Since when? Since when does 5 practices in a row of really good play, since when does that not mean anything? Come on, man. It does. But I think that we have to, at some point, we just got to say, hey, man, Beanie Bishop is playing well. He's playing very, very well. I wasn't a guy that I thought he was going to be in the mix, but I didn't think he was going to be able to win the job, or I didn't think he was going to win the job. I shouldn't say that he wasn't going to be able to. I didn't think that he was going to win the job. But for me, y'all know me. Y'all know how we feel as Steelers Almighty. Whoever wins the job, as long as they play well, we don't care. We literally don't care. And I know you Steeler fans don't care either. You don't care either. As long as you play well, I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what college you went to. I don't care what your size is. I don't care about any of that. As long as you play well, that's the only thing I care about. I don't care. Well, I guess we do kind of have to care how much money somebody makes. And we'll get into that here a little bit later when we start talking about some things. But I think we do have to take care of that. But Beanie Bishop is really stepping up, man. He has taken the job by the horns and just said, hey, there's an opportunity for me to play, and I want to play. There's an opportunity for me to play right now, for me to start, and I want to get out there. I like it. I like it. Now, preseason is going to get here pretty quickly. Next week, we're going to start seeing some of that. Got to see it against live bullets against somebody else. Also had somebody, and here's the thing. We'll talk about what you guys talk about in the comments. I'm fine with that. Somebody said, hey, everybody's all up in arms about preseason. Wait till they start seeing real NFL talent. Excuse me? So basically what you're saying is the Pittsburgh Steelers are practicing against guys that are not NFL worthy? Is that what we're talking about? See, it's stuff like that, man. No, no. Just because we want to be excited and we like what we see, that doesn't mean that everybody's gone off the deep end. All it means is, hey, we understand this is what we have. This is what is going on right now. And certain guys are playing well. They're stepping up. All of that can change during the preseason, and it definitely can change during the regular season. But should we just say, who cares? It doesn't matter. Come on, man. Oh man. We're just here to like the Steelers and talk about what we see. That's all. We just want to talk about what we see. And right now, Beanie Bishop is doing his thing, people. He's doing his thing. And we got to be excited about it. Again, being excited also, let's just take it into context. We can all be excited, but still understand that when it comes to the regular season, you still have to perform or it doesn't mean anything. There. That solves that problem. For anybody out there that's going to get on here now or later and say, why are you excited about preseason? Well, number one, because we want to be excited about preseason. But number two, we also understand that it's preseason and that it doesn't mean anything unless they do it moving forward. But don't tell me that that these guys are doing stuff that's against guys that aren't NFL caliber. That's not true, because the last time I checked, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to put an NFL team, they're going to have a team during the season full of guys that are playing in the NFL. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But you got to stop. You got to stop. Either way, I love what I'm seeing out of Beanie Bishop. I'm loving him taking advantage of the situation. It's exactly what the Steelers need. They needed a guy to step up. And he's stepping up so far. He's stepping up so far. Good for him, man. Good for him. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is these NFL rankings. I mean, now they're voted on by the players. So you got to take in some credence when it comes to it, because for me personally, And this is how I feel about it. And you all tell me if you disagree. Get in the comments and tell me if you disagree. I think NFL players know football, obviously, because they're playing football. They know certain aspects of football. They may not know all of football, but they know certain aspects of football because they're in the National Football League. But also, that doesn't mean that myself, you, a sports writer, a guy walking down the street, that doesn't mean that they don't know football either just because they don't have the ability to play. Look, let's not confuse ourselves with the ability to play and the experience of playing in the NFL. Let's not dischange that because that means a lot. But that also doesn't mean that if you study it and you watch football that you can't understand it. Just because you don't have the ability to play it doesn't mean you can't understand it. I only say all of that to say is, how the hell is TJ Watt number 8 on this list? That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to preface it by saying that because I don't care. And I know this is a Steelers channel and it's going to be biased. Okay. I'm a Steelers fan. In no way, shape, or form are you going to tell me that Myles Garrett is better than him. I'm just not going to hear it. And again, that doesn't mean that Myles Garrett isn't outstanding. It doesn't mean that. You can say that somebody is good without bad-mouthing somebody else. That's all I'm saying. And I think TJ Watt being at 8 is a travesty. Matter of fact, let's reverse the roles. Let's reverse it. If Myles Garrett had led the NFL in sacks and did all the things that TJ Watt did last year, and TJ Watt did all the things that Myles Garrett did last year, do you think Myles Garrett would be at 8? Hell no. That's all I'm going to say. Hell no, he wouldn't be at 8. I don't care that he was the defensive player of the year. TJ Watt was better than him. He was better than him. Now they want to say, well, he had a shoulder injury, and that's why the last 7 games or the last 6 games, he literally didn't do anything, which if you watch Cleveland, the last 6 games of the season, he didn't do anything. Then, well, it was a shoulder injury, and he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. Well, he was out there playing. They wouldn't have given the same grace to TJ Watt had he been hurt, you know. But also, I see it in the chat here, somebody bringing up, how's Mahomes number 4? Yeah. How's Mahomes number 4? I don't know. I literally don't know. I have no idea. Now, the only thing that I could say is why Mahomes was 4 is because they're basing it off a year-to-year basis. And last year, technically, if you look at it, I know they won the Super Bowl, but during the regular season, Mahomes didn't have his best season. It wasn't that good. There were other guys that were better. But to piggyback off of that, well, if there were other guys that were better, then why is Mahomes at 4? That's all I'm going to say. If that's the logic that you're going off of is, hey, Mahomes didn't have that good of a season last year, man. I mean, look at the numbers. Look at what their offense was doing. It wasn't that great. Well, then how the hell is he at 4? Why isn't he at like 14? That's all I want to say. So that's all I'm going to say. It is what it is. It is what it is. I just don't like the fact that TJ Watt's at 8, and maybe, just maybe, he's going to use a little bit of that as, I don't know, just have a little chip on his shoulder. Maybe that's what he's going to do. So I love what he's going to do. And I love the simple fact that he's making our team so much better because the word on the street, he's been giving our tackles fits, but they've been holding their own. Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu have been holding their own, and TJ Watt's been going after them. I love it. I love it. Iron sharpens iron. And I love the simple fact that they're fighting. That's what they really say that about Troy Fautanu. Said that he's just fighting his ass off. I love that fact. I love it. Again, preseason. But that's all we have to go by right now is preseason. That's all we have to go by. So, it is what it is. It just is what it is. Let me go to a comment here real quick. Said, I love what the team has done to the secondary. So this offseason, I said last year early, this was the defense weak link. They have addressed that within the budget. Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. Absolutely, they've done it within the budget. That was the whole thing. It was like, man, are the Steelers going to upgrade? And if they do upgrade, how are they going to do it? Are they going to go out and sign a guy like a Stephon Gilmore or a Xavier Howard? Are they going to bring them in? Because they're going to command some dollars. Or are they going to trade for a guy like a James Bradbury, something like that, who's fallen out of favor in Philly? They didn't do that. They did not do that. They kept within themselves, and they have found somebody. Now, again, we don't know what he's going to be like during the season. But as of right now, I like what he's doing. I love what Beanie Bishop is doing. I just like it. I like it. Also, Deshaun Elliott, they said that he's out there playing lights out. I love that fact. It's going to help Minka do his thing and stay back and be a free safety. I love all of it. I love all of it. So continue to get better. Guys are going to continue to get better. Offense is starting to win, though. Offense is starting to win a lot. I don't know that if some people say, well, should we be worried? I don't think we should be worried. I don't think we should be worried. I just think the offense is better. It's just a better unit than what we're used to seeing, especially this early. But for the last 3 years, it's a better unit. It's got a better offensive line. We've got really good weapons. Definitely better quarterback play. We're just better. And the offensive coordinator, I mean, if he can put two brain cells together, he's better than the offensive coordinator that we've had in the previous year. And again, y'all know me. I'm not going to mention his name anymore. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. We're past it. We're past it. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, CJ. CJ's saying we got to stay away from injuries. Yeah, let's pray that we stay away from injuries because the defense was decimated by injuries last year. Lord have mercy. I mean, every time you looked up, it seemed like a secondary player or a linebacker was getting hurt. And not just, okay, he sprained an ankle, he might come back in the game, or maybe he might miss a week. No. The guys are out for the season. It just kept happening over and over. Or out for, like Minka was out a month. I'm like, oh my God, man. It's just holding things together last year. How we won 10 games with the offensive coordinator, the quarterback play, and all the injuries on our defense. How we won 10 games last year, I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue. But we did. And we're better this year. Even though the schedule can be tougher, I get it. And it is tougher. Let's not kid ourselves. It's a tougher schedule. I still believe the Steelers are better. I still believe that we are better. And we can win at least 10 games. 10 games is for me is the floor. 10 is the floor for me this year. And I know what everybody's going to say. Oh, the back end of that schedule. Come on. When was the last time the Steelers got swept by a team in the division? Other than, I guess, 3 years ago, the Bengals did. But when was the last time the Steelers didn't at least go 3-3 in the division? When was that last time? So you know they're going to go 3-3 in the division. You know they're going to beat Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland at least once. They're probably going to beat one of those twice. So that's 4-2. Okay. And then the beginning of the schedule, there's plenty of wins in there. Plenty of wins. Now we got to go get them. We can't do like we did last year, the debacle of the Arizona and New England debacles. Lord have mercy. And then Indianapolis on top of that, although Indianapolis was a pretty good team, but we can't have that happen again. But we got an opportunity, a good opportunity, a realistic opportunity to make some things happen. But yes, I am definitely excited about the secondary, man. Really, really excited about the secondary. Now, by the way, just throw this in there real quick, people. Again, Steelers Almighty. Anywhere that you get a podcast, if you prefer audio, you can come check us out. But we are the fastest growing Steelers channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. We appreciate that. We're also on all the social medias. If you want to drive the conversation and make sure that your comment or question gets put up on the screen, the super chats are wide open. So we appreciate anybody that wants to send and contribute to the show that way. We appreciate it. Remember, on game days, You know what we're doing. I'm going to keep pubbing it on game days. 15 to 20 minutes after game day, we are going to be live doing exactly what we're doing right here. Talking about the game, what happened, what should have happened, how we feel about it, all that good stuff. So remember, I know there's a lot of times there's going to be other football games on. Hey, man, pull it up on your phone or your laptop, get the game going on in the background, come to Steelers Almighty, and let's talk about what the Steelers did that day. So just keep all that in mind. So let's see here. My last thing and last topic, it's not the last thing, it's just the last specific topic I want to talk about is Cam Heyward. Look, I think as Steeler fans, I think a lot of Steeler fans, most of them love Cam Heyward. He's a Steeler. He's been great. We can also be honest and say the last 2 years have not been great. I would give him a pass for last year for being hurt if he wasn't 35 years old. Now, I know that sounds degrading. Well, why can't you just give him a pass? He was hurt. It doesn't matter how old he is, because we know how football works. And the older you get, the more your body doesn't want to move the way that it did when it was 25 years old. Injuries tend to happen more often. That's just the way it works, man. And $60 million is a lot. I said this, and again, get in the comments if you guys agree or disagree. When all this contract stuff started and he held out of OTAs, I said this: extend Cam for 2 seasons, or give him a 2-year extension, basically this year and next year. Not 2 extra years, this year and next year. Extend it out and give him a total of $20 million guaranteed dollars, because he's getting 16 this year no matter what. He's going to get that if we don't do anything. But you could also alleviate something off the salary cap if you extend it out, put it in a bonus, all that kind of jazz. Okay. It's almost like he's on a prove-it deal. Well, the Steelers have taken the opposite approach and have just said, no, we're not going to do any of that. Well, what if Cam has a pretty good year? And when I say a pretty good year for a 35-year-old defensive tackle, what if he's causing havoc and he ends up with like 7-8 sacks? That would be pretty good for a 35-year-old defensive tackle. It just would. And if he comes back and he plays well, then what do you do? Like, are you wanting to pay? Because you can't pay Cam $16 million again a season. You can't do that. So what's Cam going to be happy with? At some point, we've got to make tough decisions. And I'm sorry. I just think it's probably time he may have to go. He may just have to go, because we can't pay him that kind of money. Now, if Cam wants to come back, if he has a good year and he wants to come back on a big-time discount, I'll take him. I absolutely take him. That still doesn't mean that the Steelers don't need to draft the defensive lineman in the first round of the draft next year, which I think is probably, unless something happens with the quarterback or something like that, I think it's almost a definite that that's where the Steelers are going to go next year in the draft, is drafting a defensive lineman in the first round. I think that's that, and maybe corner, but I would say probably a defensive lineman. Okay, fine. If that's what we're going to do, then that's what just needs to happen. I think at some point we got to just say, hey, man, I get it. I understand. We love you, Cam, but we got to move on. We just got to move on. There's teams all across the league that let go of guys a year too early versus a year too late. The Steelers have been notorious for letting guys stay a year or even two too long, and then it ends up costing us. Ben Roethlisberger is the main culprit of that. When we lost to Cleveland, that damn debacle in the playoffs, that should have been Ben Roethlisberger's last game. And there's a lot of argument saying he wasn't even that good that season. And he wasn't. But then he comes back the next year and just, now again, we had that bad offensive coordinator who will remain nameless. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. My man here says, I don't think he'll play for that, B. 13 to 15 is the lowest. You can't pay Cam Heyward. For instance, if Cam Heyward wasn't on the Steelers and under contract, name one team in the National Football League that's going to give him $13 to $15 million. There isn't one. There ain't one that's going to pay a 35-year-old Cam Heyward $13 to $15 million. I get exactly what you're saying, but there ain't no way. There ain't no way. And again, I love Cam. I think he's an all-time great Steeler. Not in my top 15 list. By the way, go check that out on YouTube if you haven't checked that video out. But I like him. I think he's great. But at some point, it's, hey, man, we love you. Thank you for your contributions, but we got to move on. We got to get younger. That's the one point or the one part of the Steelers' current roster that I'm not overjoyed with is the defensive line. Somebody pointed it out that they're old, and I'm like, well, yeah, because I always say, well, take Cam Heyward out of it. Well, how the hell can you take Cam Heyward out of it? He might be the best defensive lineman we got. So you can't take him out. He's 35. Okay. Larry O, we got to see more. We got to see more. He's been a disappointment. DeMarvin Leal, I think everybody on earth could tell you that he's been a disappointment. Although both of those guys have had really good camps. But we got to see it on the field. They're not rookies. They're not rookies. We got to see it on the field, because we've seen you on the field, and the results have not been good. They have not been good, especially Leal. Hell, I didn't even think he was going to make the roster. So we got to see that on the field. So, yeah, we got to get some guys. We got to get some production out of those guys. I think Loudermilk is going to play a role in that, man. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Logan Lee, I don't know. I like him he is the prototypical Steelers 3-4 defensive end. He's that guy. He is that guy. Really stout at the point of attack. Is good against the run, and he's a good tackler. And he can give you a little bit of a rush if he needs to give you a little bit of a rush. He can do that. So currently, I think he might be on a practice squad type of guy, but I don't know. 5th rounders usually make the team. So, or 6th rounders usually make the team, I should say. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But what do y'all feel about Cam, man? Do you think we got to keep him next year, or do you think this is his last year no matter what he does? Personally, I think it's his last year no matter what he does. And no matter what he's saying, I don't think Cam is even going to play football after this year. I really don't. I think he's going to be done. And I know what he said. I'll play 2 or 3 more years. And, he even threw out that nugget that his wife was from Cleveland or something crazy like that. He's not going to Cleveland. He's not doing that. I think Cam Heyward will be done playing football after this season. That's what I believe. So I really, really believe that. But what else is going on, man? Justin Fields, we talked ad nauseum about him yesterday. He's still playing well. He's still playing well. I like the fact that he hasn't taken steps back, I should say. He hasn't done that since we put the pads on. Everything has been getting better moving forward. Everything has been getting better moving forward. Again, we got to see it on the field. I think he's trying to make a case. I think he's trying to make a case to be the starter. Other than, I think it's more for the coaching staff and for the executive to say, hey, man, it's to be Russ's team this year, but we got to sign Justin Fields because he can play. He can be our starter moving forward if we go that route next year. But hell, I've said it from the beginning, man, make it a battle. Let Justin Fields, give him a chance to win the job. And if he does, I'm just saying, if he does, look out. Look out. I think he can do some things in this offense. That's what I believe. But the one thing that we can't do as Steeler fans is ignore the bad play that he had in the past. You can't just say, well, their line was bad. He didn't have weapons. While a lot of that is true, you can't just say that he didn't play bad. Like his decision-making was good or his accuracy was good. Yeah, all of that wasn't good, man. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. So, and maybe that's a byproduct of him not having the things necessary on a day-to-day basis, like a good line, like a lot of weapons. Even if they're not the best weapons in the league, just have outlets, to be able to count on running the football, and it's not him having to run the football. That's taxing. When you have to be the primary ball carrier on your football team, that takes a lot. I mean, look at the Ravens. They can't get to the Super Bowl because Lamar Jackson is the guy that has to be the ball carrier. Now, we'll see what happens with Derrick Henry this year. But, I mean, this is not college football, man. You're not winning when the primary ball carrier on your team is the quarterback. You're just not. I'm not saying there's not room for that, because there's obviously room for it. But name a team that's won where the quarterback's the primary ball carrier. None. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Whoa. Here we go. We got our first super chat of the day. Capricorn Steel. He's a repeat guy. We appreciate it. Thank you, my man. Again, we appreciate all the love and continued support that everybody sends to us. Thank you, and we'll continue to push these out. And this is what helps us continue to do this for you guys, man. So I want to thank Capricorn Steel for the super chat. Thank you very much, man. Means a lot. So let's go here. Look, the polls are made by people that sit on their heads. Will the offensive line have Watt at number 8? No. But this one isn't, though. The players, the players voted on it. So I get what you're saying. A lot of times it's about people, but this one, the players voted on this. So, but I will say this, and again, this isn't Steeler related, but Tyreek Hill being at number 1, yeah, I don't disagree. What he does for that Miami offense, I mean, he's incredible. He's just incredible. I don't disagree. And I'm glad that a quarterback wasn't the number 1, because everything is so quarterback centric these days. All the MVP awards and everything. Yeah, I don't disagree. Good for him. But back to the Steelers. Damn that. Back to the Steelers. Camp. Moving on. Preseason next week. A preseason game. I'm excited about it. I admit, I'm excited about it. Not because we're going to see a bunch of the starters out there playing 3 quarters or something like that. We know that's not going to happen. I want to see the young guys. I want to see a Zach Frazier. I want to see a Troy Fautanu. I want to see a Peyton Wilson. I want to see all those guys out there getting live action in a game against somebody else other than their teammates. I want to see what they look like. I do. I need to see them out on the field. Want to see them out on the field. Get out there, smacking people around a little bit, getting physical. I want to see Beanie Bishop out there against somebody. Because, again, as somebody brought up, we're all getting so excited about preseason stuff. Well, I get that. And sometimes when you practice against somebody so much, you start learning what they do. You start to know their moves. Now, you could also say the same thing in the season. It's like, well, hold on. If I'm watching film on a guy, you can get tendencies from him. You absolutely can. 100%. But it's a little different when you know the guy and you're practicing with him every day. It's just a little bit different. Maybe it shouldn't be different, but it is. So I want to see those guys against somebody else. I want to see them against somebody else and see how they perform. That's what I want to see. I want to see how they perform. Starting defense, we talked about a lot of offense yesterday. Defense, Highsmith and Watt doing their thing. Looks like Marcus Golden and Herbig are going to be the backups. I love that rotation. It worked well for us last year, by the way. It worked very well for us last year. Inside linebacker. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We know one of them is going to be Patrick Queen. I am pushing for Peyton Wilson. I'm screaming because I think Peyton Wilson's ceiling is so much higher than Elandon Roberts, just for the simple fact that he's so much more athletic. And I know Roberts is a hard hitter and an aggressive tackler. But do we want the athleticism out there? What would you guys prefer? You want Queen and Robert? And let me know in the chat. You want Queen and Roberts, or do you want Queen and Wilson? I say Wilson because I think that Wilson is physical enough. And here's the thing. Yeah, you're a hard hitter and, you're a mean tackler. But as long as I tackle you where I want to tackle you at, does it matter if I hit you hard? Or is it more important that I tackled you right where I want to tackle you? Like if I want to stop you from a 1-yard gain and I hit you at the line of scrimmage, is it more important that I blow you up? Or is it more important that I just tackle you? Me personally, just make the tackle. Is it fun to watch somebody get blown up? Yes. Do I jump up out of my couch and scream at the TV when it happens? Yes. But if that's the only thing that you do well, and I'm not saying that's the only thing Roberts does well, but he's not the athlete. He's not going to be good in coverage. We know that. We've seen that. And Wilson is. And if Wilson can just tackle guys where he wants to tackle them, minus all the big hits, just give me the tackle. I don't have to have the big hit. I don't need that, if that makes sense. I'll take it. I will definitely take it, but I'd rather just have the tackle. I would rather have the tackle. My man Adam says, I think Roberts will play more against heavy run teams like Browns and Ravens. You're probably right. I think he will, and he probably needs to. Because, they're going to run the football. That was the thing against Cleveland last year. The second game, we did a lot better. But in the first game, we were leaky against the run. Can't have that happen this year. We got to be more solid against the run. And I think having better linebackers, I think that will allow us to be better. We also got to have better defensive line play. That's the one thing. We got to have better defensive line play. Not having Cam out there, that hurt. But it's a 35-year-old Cam. We got to have better interior defensive line play. So I don't know who that's going to be. Lario, Leal, Cam, Loudermilk, Logan Lee. We got to find something. We got to find something to cause some havoc in there. Because we know what we're going to do when it comes to passing downs. We're going to get after the passer. I'd like us to bring more zone blitzes. We saw Beanie Bishop do it yesterday. A slot corner blitz ended up in an interception for a touchdown off a screen pass. I'd like to see more of that, getting back to, y'all remember Mike Hilton. Heck, Mike Hilton got a contract from the Bengals because the Steelers consistently blitzed him on slot blitzes. And he was out there making plays for us. So let's do the same thing. Let's get back to some of that. I think we can get back to some of that. So, here's a good question. Let's bring this one up. If you could watch the Steelers live this year, which game and venue would it be? Now, that's a good question. That is a good question. Here's the thing. The Steelers don't go anywhere, in my opinion, they don't go anywhere that's like they don't go to Green Bay. They're not going to Lambeau Field or something like that. So I would say Vegas. I'd go to the Vegas game. Now, I was there a couple weeks back for Big 12 Media Days. That stadium is incredible, by the way. It's incredible. Yeah. It's too bad their team's not that good, but it's incredible. I would go to that game. To get in the mix with those crazy Raider fans, in the black hole, to go be a part of that, yeah, I'd go get in that. But what about you guys? Where's a game that you guys would want to go that's on the schedule this year? You know what? I got to go see the Steelers, and I got to go there. Or would you just rather go to Pittsburgh? I love going to Pittsburgh for Steeler games. So, yeah, that's my thing. I love going there for Steeler games. So, to me, it's not that big of a deal. But that's just me. That's a good question, though, man. That is a good question. So, E-Rob starts the season, but PW gets a lot of snaps. That's kind of what I think. To start the season, it'll probably be E-Rob, barring any injury. But I think Wilson gets a lot of snaps. And I think he gets them in passing downs too. Even when we're in nickel and dime, it's different because there's one linebacker. But when we're in nickel and we got to have two, I think Peyton Wilson gets out there a lot. I think he gets out there a lot. So, KC on Christmas. But KC, the game's in Pittsburgh. Trust me. Yeah, the game's in Pittsburgh. My wife is a diehard Chiefs fan. Ugh. Lord have mercy. I've had to listen to this nonsense. I mean, the problem with Chiefs fans, now that they've been good for the last 5 or 6 years, they act like they've been good for 50 years. Oh, my gosh. It's nauseating is what it is. It's nauseating. So, but whatever. It is what it is. But anyway, man, I appreciate y'all joining me today. We're probably going to cut this one short a little bit today, but I appreciate everybody being in here. Thank you guys again. As always, remember to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Steelers Almighty is the fastest growing Steelers channel on YouTube, man. So tell all your buddies exactly, hey, man, go check out Steelers Almighty. They're just getting going. Like I mentioned yesterday, we only started this April 4th. We only started April 4th, man. So we are moving. I appreciate everything that you guys have done to help us, man, so far. Continue to do that. I promise you we'll keep churning out all these videos for you the best that we possibly can. Remember, we're having the lives after every game this season. Every game. So barring something, a catastrophe or something that can't happen or anything, we are going to be live 15 to 20 minutes after every game. Make sure you guys are there. We also got podcasts that come out every Wednesday. If you haven't already, go back and check out some of the podcasts. Make sure you always leave comments because I love going back and forth. Love the back and forth. Even if you don't agree. You don't have to agree. There's nothing that says you have to agree. Again, I don't dabble in the disrespect. But if you don't agree, you don't agree, man. We're all adults. Let's make it happen. So all we want to do is have some fun anyway. I appreciate y'all. Come back. We'll talk about it. I believe we'll have another live tomorrow. I'm not sure if it'll be in the morning. It'll probably be in the evening because obviously most of you all will be working during the day. So we will check it out. Until then, I will see you guys later. Aloha.